Good afternoon, class. So today is 21st of February and we will have to cover the current affairs of today. The first news is related to the Niti Aayog chairman. And who is the chairman of Niti Aayog? Mr. PM Modi. Vice chairman, please search who is the vice chairman. Directly or indirectly this question could be asked. Now two things you need to understand. First of all, what does Mr. Modi have said? Mr. Modi have listed out 6 key issues with regard to the path for easing the compliance and the burden for the businesses so that more and more business would come here. And he have listed out 6 key issues. One is making India a manufacturing powerhouse, reimagination of the agriculture, improving the physical infra or the infrastructure, human resource development, improving service delivery, and health and nutrition. Now he have talked about the compliance and processes and necessary and unnecessary things that are being mandated by different states, which are putting extra burden on the companies and also asking them to be more compliant to the norms and the rules that have been set up by the state. He has asked for rationalization of these rules, streamlining of these rules. Unnecessary burdens need not to be put. If the company, just for example, if you have to seek proposal for anything, for everything you have to give an application. Now there are certain cumbersome procedures for installing of factories in which affidavit can also be subjected to a amount of evidence that this is what we are submitting. So in that way you do not have to wait for the permissions to come, but on the affidavit you have released that this is the amount of work I am going to do here, and I have put it on affidavit that this is what I have done, and if I found or have to be found while in violation of any of the procedures or the rules regarding a particular subject, necessary action could be initiated on me. For example, let's say a worker have you want to employ a worker, they have been coming from outside of the state, you need to have permission. Now for their safety, housing and all other things needed to be provided for. So for construction of that you needed a license. Now this provision can be changed by the declaration of the affidavit that I have complied by my own judgment to this particular procedure. It is up to you to verify if any form of discrepancies are being found, and if they are found, you need for the initiation of any necessary legal action that you want to take against me. So this is what the compliance burden is being reduced. Okay, or the ease of streamlining of the processes is also being introduced. One is the same thing, but in that particular case you have said that I have done it, you verify it. In the other case, if the permission comes, then only you can install the fact. The next one is the petrol price hike is a vexatious issue, say Nirmala Sitharaman. Please understand, she have said that it is very annoying and this is a Mahabhayankaram Dharma Sankatam. This is what she have said. Right now, she have suggested that as the major economy or OPC is likely to cut down the production more, so the increase in the prices of the oil is also going to hurt the economy of India and also other nations. Now for this concrete step, because the only thing that can actually satisfy the people right now is the reduction in the prices of the fuel. But she says that if the center will do it, what are the chances the state will follow the suit? Then the credit game will certainly start increasing on one and another. And when we talk about the price increase, the oil production or the processing facilities that we are currently having, they have sufficient amount of oil, but oil is not available at the cheaper price. If it is not available at the cheaper price, then the inflation would be high, which will currently damage the whole prospect of the economy and will not look good in the time of recession, because inflation, if it is very high or if it is very low, both are dangerous for the economy. So we do not want either of them. We want a simplistic, manageable inflation that could basically help us in providing the necessary leverage for the consumers also. Now the other provision, the things are that whether this should be included into the GST regime. If it is included in the GST regime, the maximum tax the government can impose is 28 rupees. Sorry, 28%. And if we talk about 28%, I think the petrol prices will be around 50%. But nobody want to give away the cash cow that they are having, neither the states, neither the center. Right now they have their own authorities, basically from the demand of center. Center is already eager to do it, but the states are not relenting under the pressure because they very well know this is the only thing from where they are getting the revenue. Now these are some of the things that are needed to be understood. And please understand, if the price has to be decreased, Nirmala Sitharaman have very categorically said that if there is a cooperation between the center and the state, only then there is a substantial hope that the prices could be reduced of the petrol prices, both in the taxes and also in the future if the prices increases. Further moving on, the next article is related to Kerala freedom fighter Pan's memoir at 100. Now, why it is important? Because he may be the only person or the oldest person to basically fill up a memoir that may create his name into the world Guinness World Record book. So we will have to see what will happen after that. And he is a voracious reader. He always wanted to basically write a book, but during this lockdown, he have gotten sufficient amount to pen down all the things that he have experienced. He is one of the few who have not taken the pension freedom of the so he have not taken the pension of the freedom fighter that was awarded by the government. So you must remember his name, Gangadhar Panikar. The next news is related to railway importers, a major boost for the rupee cards. Now, Railway have issued a notification in which they have asked their employees, which constitute about 12.54 lakh in numbers, to switch, or the State Bank of India has been directed to please issue them debit and ATM cards that are related to the RuPay card. So now the RuPay, that is the National Payment System of India, developed by National Payment Corporation of India, will be the one that will be getting all the commission for the uses of the cards. Right now we have many cards. For example, Visa card is there, MasterCard is there, and Maestro card is there. These are some of the cards that are slowly and steadily receding away from whatever businesses they have in India. So now we have a domestic card system or domestic payment system under the Reserve Bank of India, under which NPCI is there, National Payment Corporation of India, that is functioning, and this function will certainly help the NPCI to gain more market and also gain more profits, and maybe the security and the data usage outside of India. The next one is the with media blitz, China craft new narrative on border crisis. So there is a Twitter-like facility over there called as Weibo, in which certain angry and abusive comments has been heard at the Indian embassy, and they have been tagged on Weibo, in which China have accepted that 4 soldiers has been killed. They want to put the record straight. We still cannot believe that this is the actual number which they have actually died. According to a report by Russia, almost 40% have killed over the clashes in the clashes in China at the Galwan, but we are still not sure of it. But this is the propaganda. They want to steer the emotions of the public, and the timing and the date has been chosen very cleverly, because this is the time when most of the people will be at home and they will have gotten enough free time so that they can go on the news, because it is a season of holiday over there in the wake of the lunar calendar that have recently started from this particular day. Okay, so Losar festival, if you remember, this is where it is happening. So I hope this is clear. Okay. Further moving on, the next news is wettest places on earth decreasing trend in rainfall. So they have discussed the wettest places, and what is the wettest place in India, Mensuram Chirapunchi, which amounts about approximately 1000 centimeter of a rainfall in a particular year. Now, after the trend that we have studied for 119 years, there have been 2 or 3 discoveries that we have found. The one is the changes in the Indian Ocean temperature. Then there is the vegetation in the northeast that is also changing. The anthropological factors which are declining or increasing the deforestation in the areas have also posed threat. Now, when we talk about zoom cultivation, this was one of the major concern in the northeastern areas, where a lot of people were engaged in zoom cultivation, leading to large amount of erosion. The government have recently put out certain aspects in which the zoom cultivation have been decreasing day by day. Now, it is not an immediate threat, but apart from that, there are other things that are needed to be considered, that the rainfall has been decreasing per decade by an amount of 42 mm. So, although it is not a very big amount, but then again, it is consistently decreasing, and the cropland area is increased and the forest area have decreased. So, these are the 2 things you need to understand. So, basically for agriculture, the forests have to make their spaces, and they are making their spaces. The next one is the perseverance to search for signs of life. Now, this is perseverance who have touched down on the Martian space, and it is have land in a crater, and the name of the crater is Jezero crater. Please remember. So, Mars mission have successfully landed, there are 2 or 3 functions that he will be performing. It is a observation of the Martian surface, taking samples of rocks over there and sending signals and contact, and also find traces of water above the surface and below the surface. So I hope this is clear. The next one is the estimate of WASH across healthcare facilities in India. So WASH stands for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. It was a program that was started by World Health Organization and UNICEF in 2019. And when they have taken the survey, there are approximately 42% of people who do not have any hygienic facilities. Of course, this is according to the data before, I think 2019. So I think a lot have changed in the 2 years. We have seen a lot of amount of investment in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and the people have been provided sanitation facilities. Government have also provided ODF plus and ODF plus targets, in which we are not only looking for the open defecation, but we are also looking for the management of the different kind of waste that are coming, for example, grey water and the dark water that are coming from the households. Now, these are some of the things. Apart from that, AMR is that is antimicrobial resistance is the near threat. For AMR, we have a program of WHO called as AWARE. AWARE tool is one of the very important tool for the control of the antimicrobial resistance, and that is one thing you need to understand. The next one is the estimation of the expenditure. When we talk about in India, it is approximately $354 billion, which is one-time expenses. For example, if you want to build infrastructure for toilets, if you want to provide one-time subsidy for the homes if they have or would have like to have toilets, then there is 289 million, that is the repetitive cost every year. So repetitive cost is the cleanliness and the damages that will be suffered. When we talk about the least expensive, these are the hand hygiene, medical device reprocessing and environment surface cleaning. But the most expensive right now are lining, processing and the sanitation that are currently occurring in India. So we will have to have a balance with both of them, and we'll have to see how these particular things will, or how much expenses will be occurred on them. Okay, the next one is the roadmap for reducing public sector role. Now, what is the roadmap the government have set? Government have set 3 things. First of all, they want to disinvest from all those things, all those sectors, all those PSUs which are not important, and they will only maintain a bare presence in the strategic sectors, and the disinvestment will continue in the others. Now, what is the bare minimum? The government have not clarified it, so government will decide what will be the bare minimum. When we talk about options, there are the 2 options the government have laid out. Either they will go for full privatization, or either they will go for closure in the cases of the loss-making units. Now, the minimization of the public sector role will give advantage to the private sector, and it will also bring in infusion of capital, technology and management that will increase the capacity of the Indian industry and also the capacity of the whole sector where we are seeking investments which were earlier public. Now, when we talk about history, Modi have already said in the first tenure of 2014 that there is no business to be involved in business, but the actual statement that he had made found no takers on the ground. There have been less disinvestment over the 4 years. The little activity have happened with case to the investment. We have seen that in the case of Air India, in which the government was going for lock, stock and barrel approach for selling all the things, but it was not able to sell any of the things. Then we have investor confidence that has been rattled by the COVID pandemic, and the government have already announced that they will sell or will try to sell the BPCL, the Container Corporation of India and the Shipping Corporation of India into the strategic and the disinvestment. They have declared 4 sectors that will be kept in the non-strategic parts. So we will discuss that in budget. When we talk about the government of India, there are 439 central public sector enterprises, and out of that 151 directly has been declared as non-strategic sectors. And there are some banks and insurance entries that will also see the privatization in the wake of the government declaring that there will be some huge infusion of money they will be needing for providing influx into the economy so that the economy would work. Now, the target that the government of India have set up for itself is approximately 2.75 lakh crore, but sorry, not 1 lakh crore was last year. Right now it is 1.75 lakh crore for fiscal year 2022 from disinvestment. Last year the government have set up a target of 2.1 lakh crore. Now, out of that 2.1 lakh crore target that they have set up, they are only able to achieve approximately 33,000 crore. And at that particular time, maybe it can be argued that the government was in a type of a suspended animation with respect to the sale of the various public sector enterprises they want to have. So it is highly unlikely right now, because if we have in the lockdown for the 6 months, after the 6 months, the economy was completely free. The disinvestment could have been pursued, but it had not been pursued by the government, and that have created a problem. And what will happen is yet to be seen. Apart from that, these are all the issues that are before the sale. The after sale issues include the price audit by CAG, the investigating agencies who will be cropping up in the courts. There will be various cases by the people, the changes of the labor as it changes hand from the government sector to the private sector. These are some of the issues that will come after the sale. So government need to be prepared for the both, and we will have to see what secret cards the government will hold in their pockets. Okay, further moving on, conclusive land titling and its challenges. Now, why it is important? First of all, the ownership of the land. The government have started a program, and they have provided a particular model being on the conclusive land titling, and it has been sent to the states and the union territories for the comment that whether it needed to be done and what are your suggestions regarding the feedback. The center government is doing it. Now you must understand the objective of the center. Center says that there are so much land that is available in the rural and the semi-rural areas that does not find any real persons who are there. So the actual person who owns the land is not being titled, and therefore whenever a company or any other person want to procure that particular land from the private hands, or even the government agencies want to do, the land indulge or the private companies have to indulge in a lot of the court cases, and these court cases, when we see, prevent the development work of the economy. So the government have said we will make it easier. We will first of all ensure, pick up a draft list, pick up all the name of the people, put them online. If there is any objection regarding any of the names, the person can raise it so that it can be clarified and a solution could be reached further. This will all be done by the revenue department. And when we talk about the litigation that is currently pending in the courts, the litigation of the property rights is approximately 2/3 of all the cases. So that is a huge number. So government have taken up a forward approach. Please remember, this article is only written from the government perspective, but you must see it in the perception of the cases under which the Supreme Courts have been burdened, and they are not able to deliver justice or hear cases of the important part. So as we need to decrease the cases on the Supreme Court on one hand, this is a type of a precursor that was required, because if you do the process, you try to solve the dispute at the administrative level, the cases are not going to be raised at the judicial level. The judicial level cases are only raised because the cases are not not solved upfront. So I hope this is clear. तो इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा, और इसमें कुछ भी नहीं है, इतना ही टाइटल है. नेक्स्ट वन इज द रेबल्स विद द ग्रीन कॉज. Now Rebels for Life Extinction Rebellion, this is ER Rebellion that is currently set. Now what they are doing, they are basically asking the people to come with them. And why this is important? Because they have adopted the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, in which they say that you must tell the truth on the species extinction and the change. The corporates and the environmentalists are lying. Second, you must commit yourself to net zero emissions by 2025 and create advisory assemblies that will work for the guidance of the parliament and tell them what to do with regard to the environment. Now this has started in UP, not UP but in UK, that is United Kingdom, and it is a non-violent disruptive mean to prevent the loss of the biodiversity with the help of the public activity, engaging public activity, and they are protesting. So they have shock protest has shown branches in 75 countries, and the environmental group seeks to turn public attention. So that's why they are coordinating all the protests across the world and challenging the policies with respect to the wildfires, failed agriculture, drought, floods, heat waves, and cold waves. The government apprehension revived about that, and they have been calling for engagement on collaborative basis, where all the countries will actually collaborate with one another, and therefore they will help in type of a restrictions being put on the businesses, in which the business will fear, because this particular rebellion, if it starts, it will have ripple effect in all the countries. If they have blocked certain company in one state, they may also block the business of that particular company in another state also. So it is gaining into a mass movement, and this is what the future events and all other things will be happening, and they will be talking about. And the movement is encouraging many rebellion because it is targeting small business, so they are having public activity. And there is one other part, that is the financing. If the financing of the fossil fuels is being stopped, I don't think they will survive for much longer. Okay, इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. Okay, further moving on, view India spending in context of stimulus. Now this is a thing Nirmala Sitharaman have asked for the rating agencies to be considerate about. Now, it has been feared that if the fiscal deficit is shown at such a large and the debt to GDP ratio is still increasing somewhere around 87% for India, and the fiscal deficit is targeted about 9.5%. So there have been various concerns that has been raised that India is already in the degrading rating, and there is a possibility that furthermore or further degradation of India's payback capacity will be there. Sorry, degradation into the rating of the payback capacity will be there. I hope you understand that the rating agencies basically assess the capability of a particular country to pay back the debt that it have taken. Now that is based on the financial condition or the financial prospects of the government. Nirmala Sitharaman have urged that right now it was an extraordinary situation. We urge the rating agencies to basically see it on the basis of the stimulus that they are providing in the economy. They are soon going to revive. So the judgment and the biases that have been there should be set aside for the Indian country. We have already seen the rating agencies has been criticized by the economic survey openly with respect to the biased approach they have started against China and India. And that's why this is this is where Nirmala Sitharaman have urged to the rating agencies to have a think about the degradation of the India's sovereign ratings. ठीक है, तो इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. Okay, so I think that is it for today. And please remember, Osaka have won the, I think, Australian Open. Yeah, Australian Open. ठीक है. So Naomi Osaka has won the Australian Open. You should remember her name. तो अभी के लिए इतना ही करते हैं. नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में इनसे शुरू करें.